Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm going to be discussing my family's ancestry, where we came from, and how we became the family we are today. I'm going to preface this by saying that I do only know about my mom's side of the family, so that will be the only family I'll be discussing today, as there is no way to find out any information about my birth father's side. Now that we have that covered, we will start first with my grandpa's side. He basically said his main ties in his family are to Germany and to England. His family was shoemakers, and they came over in the early 1900s, basically 1900, 1901 time period. I asked why, and he said it was basically for that idea of that American dream. His whole family thought this would be better in America, we'd have more opportunities and more chances, we might as well go there now. So they left, came and settled in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area. Back in Germany and England, the whole family was shoemakers. And when they came to Minnesota, Wisconsin, that is what the trade that they picked up today. Some did break off into farming, but my grandpa's side, my grandpa's main family stayed as shoemakers. My grandma's side is from France, and they came over, first they went to Canada, and then they made their way to Minnesota, and they came over around 1914, 1915, which was the start of World War I. And they fled France because of the war and that they didn't want to be caught up in the war. That leads us on to languages that were spoken. My grandpa said that German was used occasionally within the households, but it was mainly English speaking. And my grandma's family was French speaking. Her mom and her dad and her grandparents all spoke in French, but the kids all just learned English. They knew little phrases in French, but they definitely did not know the whole language, and it was mainly just spoken when the kids were not supposed to know what the adults were talking about. I guess this kind of leads to me, what part I play in my family. I am the oldest I have two younger siblings. They are 12 and 8. They're two little boys, Grant and Henry. And my mom, I was raised in a single parent household. My mom raised me, and she has always been able to provide for us. She has been the rock in my life, I guess. Socioeconomic status for my family throughout the years has been probably middle class, upper middle class, depending how you would categorize it. Both my grandparents said about their parents and their families, and basically what I can say about mine is that we luckily have never been struggling, but we by no means have had money to just throw around willy-nilly. So the lifestyle everybody's led, honestly, is pretty traditional. Everybody in my family and in the history has gotten married, had kids, and worked, and their kids did the same. We've had no non-traditional family, I guess. Ethnic diversity within my family is pretty non-existent. We are all a very white family, and I think the impact that this has had is on the older generations. I think they are less open to many things, less open to ideas, and just the changing world that we live in. As for big struggles that we have faced, we're a pretty boring family. We haven't had much happen to us in the view of struggling, which we are very lucky about. And there's been nothing that has altered our family in a negative way that we are aware of. What impact and influence this has on me, I basically think I just want to educate my family and that older generation that I talked about being very close-minded, and telling them that change is good, and change that is happening today is gonna happen whether they like it or not, and educate them a little bit more, if I can, about just current topics in today's world. One thing I want to carry on in my life is basically to be open-minded and remember that everyone is different. Everybody came from different backgrounds, and that makes them who they are and unique. So thank you for listening to my story time, and I hope you enjoyed.